Welcome to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to be having a look at BTC. Let's get into the charts and see what's going on. Okay, so at the moment I'm still treating this as a WXY, and what we have is a potential here that we could actually see a move still down towards this 24229 region. Now within the structure that we have here, it's possible that we could be starting to extend out and we could be getting a 5-wave move looking to push this last leg down here for this Y wave. Now, if we're looking at that, we'd be treating this as A, B, and then actually looking for this as a C wave. So we're going to have to keep an eye on this. We do also have the other potential still viable that we could actually be within this as a X wave here. Now, we're going to discuss a couple of options within this count, and something that I think is very interesting is that if we are looking at this as a flat correction, we have some interesting things that have happened here. So we're going to go over the possibility of actually looking for this as a flat, and then we're going to go over that more bearish case where we're looking for a 5-wave move to the downside. Okay, so looking at this as a possible flat correction here, so we've actually come down here to this 1382 now. Now, this is a very common area for a flat. Now, what we have here is we just have a 3-wave move currently. We could still get an additional 4th and a 5th, so we're going to have to just be mindful of that. If we do, that could look to bring us into this channel. Now, the way that I'm looking at this is that potentially we could have this as A and B. Now, the interesting thing here is that if we look at this time comparison between this A wave and this B wave, we can actually see that the B wave has now achieved exactly 1-to-1, which is this yellow line here. So what I'm just being mindful of is that if this is just a corrective structure and we actually look to reverse up, this B wave now has equality to this previous wave here. It could also be argued though, however, what we could say is that, our X wave and our Y wave have equality now. So this is something that, it can be used both ways here. We could say that this X wave and this Y wave now have equality, and we could actually be looking at, nearing the end of this move. It doesn't have to just turn around because it's at equality in time, but it is something just to be mindful of. So because of that fact, I'm looking for the potential that, within this structure, we could be looking to be towards the end of it. Now, if we are looking at this as potentially being this as an A, B, and a C, what we can still get on rare occasions is we could even still technically get a move down to this 1618. It can happen within a flat correction. The reason why I'm still looking at this in this way is because this move still makes a lot more sense to me as a W, X, and a Y, just given the current structure, rather than an A, B, and a C, looking for that as a Y wave. So what I'm looking for here is effectively that, within this structure, we could have this as W, this is X, and this is A, B, and C to the downside. So now this is looking at the internals in this way. So with this, we were talking about the possibility that because we had already come up here towards this 50% line, this could be a B wave. We were looking also for the possibility to find support and push up one more time, back up into this. We're also looking at that potential of a flat correction here, where we're looking for basically something like this, where this becomes A, B, and C. But this is now invalid in my opinion because of the fact that we've come down a bit too deep there. So what I'm looking for now is that actually this was just our B wave, and we're looking at this as 1, 2, 3, and I'm looking for a 4th and a 5th. So the way that this would actually look, if I turn on this count here, would be something along these lines here, where we're treating this as a 1, 2, looking for this as a 3rd wave, and then we're going for a 4th wave to the upside. Now this 4th wave technically has met a requirement already by coming up to this 0.236 rather, and then what we would be looking for here is that possibility of continuation to the downside. Now if we are looking at this as a 4th and a 5th, our 5th wave target box actually looks to bring us down here towards this zone of this 24706 to this 24523. Now we also have this yellow target box which we have down below here, which we have a weekly naked point of control at this 24821, and a daily one down here towards this 24688. Now what I'm looking for here is that if we do actually see price push up one more time here, we could still be within a 4th wave, because this leg over here for wave 2 actually took a bit of time to play out. So it would not be surprising for me to actually see, something like this develop, a little bit more of a substantial wave 4. If we start to break down directly, we need to just be careful, because it could be that this is actually 1, 2, 3, 4, and that we've actually still within this 3rd wave. So we're gonna have to keep an eye on this. If we go down onto the smaller time frames here, we can argue this is from up here that we have actually this as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, just with a really small 4th wave, or alternatively 1, 2, 3, 4, and then actually the extension was in the 5th wave. That actually makes a lot more sense here if we're looking at the structure that we have. The alternate way we could also look at this is because we don't have a 5th wave yet, this could also just be A, B, and C. So, you know, we need to just be aware of that. We did hit that 1618, which we can see here at this 24,956, but we don't have this 4th wave yet. So we need to see confirmation of this. If we start to break above this 25,454, it becomes less likely that we're still going to see this continuation to the downside in this manner anyway. What we can't rule out though is that if we're looking at this, we could actually still be getting further extension. So the key thing here is if we do see a move to the upside, we need to get back above this wave 1, which is sitting here at this 25,712, and then we need to actually break back above this high pointer here of this 26,437, just to invalidate any potential of additional extension here as a impulse. Because really, until we actually cross this again, you know, we need to just be cautious that we could still get you know, continuation down here. So primarily, as long as we actually stay below this 25,454, I am looking at this as a 5-wave move, and our target area could bring us down here towards this 24,706 to this 24,523. Now, some other target areas for this as a 5th wave would be this 24,609 at that 0.382 of the wave 1 to 3, or this 0.618 of the wave 1 to 3 here at this 24,248. Now, another area could be this 1-to-1 of the wave 1, which would actually be here at this 24,519. So these areas would actually look to bring us back into this channel, and it would be a particularly interesting zone to keep an eye on if we do actually move down into those levels, because once again, this would actually look to come and take out these daily naked points of control, and would actually look for that possibility of, you know, completing this move. Though really, until we actually start to break back above some of these key highs, we need to just be cautious, because there is always the potential that we could be looking to actually extend out. Now, the more bearish count within this would actually be saying that, you know, we're looking for a bigger breakdown here. And what we'd be looking for effectively would be that possibility of a series of 1s and 2s over here, and that we're actually breaking down within this count, and we're actually still within this blue 3rd wave. Now, the key area here I'm keeping an eye out for would be this 23,987. Moving down into this 23,987 area directly from here would indicate to me that we are looking for this as a bigger 5-wave move, where this becomes 1, 2, 3, and then what we'd be looking for would actually be a 4th wave looking to bring us back up towards this 24,800 level, and then having an additional 5th wave to the downside, looking to potentially target out this 23,791 to this 23,485. If we do get something like this, we'd have to look out for an additional 4th wave and an additional 5th wave, which could look to bring us down towards this lower area here of this 23,430. Now, the problem within this count would be then that we have a few bits of structure over here that we need to just be careful aren't additional 1s and 2s, because if we do actually move down towards this level here of this 23,430, you know, what we need to be careful of is that if this is another 1-2, we'd get another 4th and a 5th, and if this is another 1-2 here, we'd get another 4th and a 5th. Even if you want to count this as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 with an extension in the 5th wave, it would still mean that within this structure here, we'd still have an additional 4th and a 5th lower down here. So this would be key. If we do start to break down here, it could mean that we're actually extending out in a bigger way. So that's why we need to just be careful of it. However, till we actually see that materialize, what we need to just be aware of is that, you know, the 1.618 would only be down here at this 22,793. Now, this would actually be of this whole move as a wave 1 and a 2. So it could also just be that this is A, B, and then we see the C wave in play coming down here lower. And this would kind of still tie in the idea of this as a bigger W, X, and a Y, where we're looking for, you know, some lower targets here. We don't want to see this go past the 1.618 though. So if I turn this on here, we can see that that would be down here at this 21,651. So this would be really the limit of where I'd want to see this Y wave come down to if we actually do look to push down there. So with these extensions, what I'm looking out for is that from further back here, you know, we still have that possibility of a deeper move, where we were talking about this previously, where we could be breaking down from further back, where this is actually a 1-2. So this is why it's going to be key here. You know, if we start continuing to break down here, where this becomes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then we get another fourth and a fifth, then we get another fourth and a fifth. You know, it starts putting us right in the zone of this 1618, which is sitting here towards this 22,346. And, you know, if we start to look at this as a 1, 2, and this is all becoming a bigger third wave here, what we would be looking for is actually, you know, this move is actually starting to trend to the downside, because then we would have to argue there's another 1, 2 here. So this is why it's going to be very important to keep above these 1618 levels. If we fail to do so, it starts to become more likely that we have a high in place from further back here. And, you know, we could still be looking to actually have a deeper corrective move where we actually form something like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3-wave move, maybe another 5-wave move to the downside, something like this. And then from there, even then, we could still be within a bigger corrective move here, or this could actually just start to break down directly in a bigger 5-wave move where we actually look to sweep these lows that we have here towards this 15,455 area. Like I said, for the time being, this is my preferred count, and I'm looking for this additional 5th wave to the downside. And once we complete this, I want to see how we react. If we have this as that idea of this is a bigger flat correction, where this is a this all becomes a B, and then we see a C wave to the upside, you know, what we would be looking for is a nice strong 5-wave move off the back of this. If we complete this move to the downside, and what we get is just a 3-wave move back to the upside here, this could then mean that we're going to see that continuation to the downside. So we're going to have to just monitor this. If we start to break down in this way, this would just start to mean, you know, that we've got some series of 4ths and 5ths still to actually play out here. Now, an interesting level to keep an eye on from further back here is we did have this previous range over here, and what I'm looking at is this value area high. Now, this value area high is actually sitting a little bit below where we currently are, towards this 24,755. Now, this also has this little volume node over here. As well as that, we do have the channels that are sitting within this range here, and we also do have you know, that weekly and daily negative point of control just below where price action currently is. So it would make a lot of sense for me to actually see price come down here one more time. But like I said, at the moment, all we have is a 3-wave move. I would like to see that additional 4th and a 5th. That would potentially look to bring us back into these levels, and it'd be interesting to see how we react off of them. If we do find support within this channel and you know, all these different confluences that we have in this zone, then potentially we could look for that possibility of a bounce to the upside. Though even if we do get a bounce, we need to just be aware that there is always the potential that within these structures that this could be our X wave, and this could actually be an A, B, and a C still. You know, we need to just keep an eye on how these actually develop, because if we are looking to break down in a bigger way, you know, we still have that bearish idea of those 5-wave structures, as well as the fact is just as a corrective move, we could also just have this as W, X, this becomes A, this becomes B, and then we still get a C wave to the downside, just looking to get even more choppy. Having a look at the CPR lines here on the daily, what we can see is that we're actually currently below the daily central lines here. Now, what I'm mindful of is that within our count, these actually sit within this area of this 4th wave rejection. So what I'm looking out for is that if we actually looking at the structure in this way, like I said, you know, we've come up to this target area already. If we do look to make this into a bigger structure here, we could actually see a move up towards this 25,348, or this higher area here, this 25,465. Now, if we do that, we can also see that this lower CPR line is actually aligning with our 5th wave box. If it does look to break down low, we've got a R2 line here at this 24,669, R3 at this 23,317, and an R4 at this 22,794. As well as that, above us, we have the S1 line at this 25,876, the S2 line at this 26,626, the S3 at this 2715, and the S4 up here towards this 27,894. Now, these would only really come into play if we start to come back and regain the support of these central lines. Then we have that potential where we could see an interaction with these if we do actually look to move to the upside here. But primarily, like I said, as long as we're below these, I am looking for that potential at least for another drop here. And then from there, we're going to have to monitor it. 3 waves up means that we're going to see continuation down. Now, jumping back onto the weekly for these, what we can see is we're currently sitting below this R1 line. And we do have this R2 line sitting here at this 24,177. So if we do see price actually continue to the downside, this could be quite an interesting area. It would be bringing us towards the zone of the 0.618 of the wave 1 to 3, which would probably mean that within here we'd be getting some kind of an extension if it is actually looking to break down directly. The R3 line is here towards this 23,011. Now, if we come back up here, what we can see is that these central points are actually between this 26,073 and this 26,371. So what I'm being mindful of here is if we do see this as 1, 2, 3, 4, and we get a fifth wave here, if we do see price actually come back into these in three-wave structure, it could be an indication that we're going to see a further rejection at that point, and we could actually see price come back into the central channel line here, and then actually look for, you know, that continuation to the downside. So we're gonna have to keep an eye on it. If we do actually manage to reclaim these, potentially we could see a move up towards this S1 line at this 27.96, this 28,261, and this area here of this 29,134. Lower targets on the monthly CPR would actually be the R2 line here towards this 23.6. Now this would come into play if we're actually starting to see that extension to the downside. And then lower down here we do have this R3 line here at this 21,400 area. So I would be keeping an eye on these zones if we do actually look to break down. Alternatively, if we do start to find support here, and we're looking at that possibility that, you know, we could be looking at a flat from further back here, what we could actually see is a reversal in price, and then actually seeing price being gravitated back towards these central lines. Obviously directly above us, this is going to now potentially be a resistance level, this R1 line, which is sitting at this 25,410. So if we do see price move back up there, this would have a bit of confluence with the top end of this box, and looking for this possibility of a fourth and a fifth wave to the downside. So gonna have to keep an eye on that. Okay, so I'm gonna leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video, and leave us some feedback down below. Everyone have a great day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.